Questions from week one. I know this is a Wednesday podcast, so be sure to take a look. On Friday, there will be I believe, a boxing one that I'm going to be dropping on Friday for you guys. So this one is going to be a recap of what happened in week one and also some games to look forward to. To start off, I guess we have to start off with Utah and Florida. Wow, was Florida in trouble? And wow, is Florida may not win more than 3 or 4 games this season. It's going to be a very rough season for Florida. I don't know how they're going to get to bowl eligibility at any point in time. Florida had everybody healthy, and it was really bad, really fast. Couldn't run the football. Graham Mertz, you made him throw over 40 times. He did have 333 yards, one touchdown, one interception. He was okay. He wasn't the reason why they lost. I thought he would be, but he wasn't. The offensive line and the defense is what is the real issue. The penalties, the special teams having two number threes in the field, and the lack of awareness by Billy Napier offensively to rotate any offensive pieces in there was the problem. And I think Florida's just going to have a very rough and tough season. And I do not believe Billy Napier will be back for a third season. Utah, on the other hand, they definitely need Cam Rising back. I think he definitely makes his offense hum. But I thought the backup played well enough to get the win and showed me some good things. Also, you really want to see Utah probably do a little bit better job offensively, not stalling at times, and I think that just comes with more repetition and their leader needing to be back. So I think Utah will be fine in the near future. Another game, UCF absolutely destroying Kent State. John Ryan's Pumley absolutely played pretty good. Definitely ran very well. Definitely threw the ball very well against a really bad Kent State team. I knew they would win that game. 2 interceptions is very concerning. John Ryan's Pumley is known to throw them. So I need him to wrangle that a little bit back so that doesn't continue being the case. NC State and UConn was closer than you could have thought. NC State, really, if it wasn't for UConn's ineptitude throwing the football, honestly, UConn really would have been. This game really only would have been won 17-14. It was that close, guys. It was really 17-14 for a good portion of this game, and it was looking really good for UConn. I was proud of the way they fought. You do have to remember UConn's an independent. They're not very. They don't get very much good talent. I mean, you get twos and low threes. A lot of no star guys. So honestly, for UConn, it was just a win in general to be in the game against NC State and to give them a run for their money. I did like the tight end Jolly. I loved Rosa's ability to just turn it up on field, and he is going to be something to watch for sure moving forward. For NC State, it was just the bigger D1 school won. I mean, they leaned on him. They put the quarterback in bad situations, and that's how they ended up winning the game. They actually, really honestly, very well could have lost this game. And Brennan Armstrong did a great job of moving the chains, but his wide receivers are a mess, and Brennan Armstrong doesn't. I don't know if he's really the guy to get you very far for NC State, especially when you had Devin Leary, who we'll talk about later, had a very good game. Nebraska and Minnesota was probably the most disappointing game I had ever seen in a while. Both offenses were god awful. Both offenses were really bad throwing the football. Jeff Sims is not the quarterback for Nebraska. They need to go ahead and pivot. He's just not it. He's just not it. I mean, he was so unbelievably bad throwing that football. It was unreal. He could run, and he has the tools, but he ain't got the up here, the up smarts to play the position. He just doesn't. He just doesn't see the field well. He doesn't see the game well enough to be a good college quarterback. And if I'm Matt Rule, I have to open up that competition and say, "Hey Jeff, you're gonna get shared snaps against Colorado with your backup and see what your backup could do." Missouri destroyed South Dakota, but that's not really anything big. Arizona State beating Southern Utah. Very sad to see that that game was even close, to be honest with you, 24-21. Jaden Rashada, the freshman, did look phenomenal. But the defense for Arizona State looked really bad against a team that I don't even know if they're even in Division One football in Southern Utah. So Arizona State really needs to, with Kyle Dillingham, sorry, understand that year one is definitely going to be a real big project. Michigan State beating Central Michigan really wasn't hard. The Chippewas are not very good. Michigan State just outran them. And Noah Kim played pretty good of a game throwing the football wise. Miami, Ohio, it was never going to be a game. Never was going to be close. Taylor Van Dyke didn't play that well. Really, it was the running game and the defense that held it together for Miami. Georgia Tech was actually beating Louisiana for a majority of this game. I mean, they scored 28 points in the second quarter alone. They were up 28-13 at halftime. And then in the second half, I mean, it was all Louisville at that point. Haynes King was really good for that game. I just think the defense had let him down. I think he put up definitely enough points to win. But like I said, the defense just really hurt him and really just couldn't get it stops for him. And Louisville ended up coming back and winning that game. But had they lost, you would have heard some fans be very upset with Louisville's new head coach. That's a prodigal son. Kansas beating Missouri State. Don't think that was ever in doubt, to be honest with you. I know the first half, 17-10. You're like, oh, what's going on here? But then the second half, it was an absolute blowout. The backup Bean ended up getting was the quarterback, as for some reason their starting quarterback could not go, and Jay Daniels. So hopefully he comes back for this upcoming game. Stanford, Hawaii, really close game at first when it was 21-10, and then it just got away from Hawaii, and the Rainbow Warriors are still not very good, but Stanford did an excellent job of getting the win here and doing a great job of leaning with that defense and rushing the football pretty well. Georgia, nothing really to say. They versus UT Martin. Michigan and East Carolina, nothing really to say there. Ohio State, Cal McCord and Devin Brown are going to have to alternate. I don't see any other way of that. I think they put out Cal McCord because he was a safe bet. But I think Devin Brown 100% needs to get reps in this next upcoming game before he versus Notre Dame in Week 3. So I would, if I'm Ohio State, 100% look into playing Devin Brown in this next game and seeing what he got. And hopefully your offense looks a lot better than 20-33. Should never have been that close. Alabama, Middle Tennessee is Jalen Milroe's job. He did a phenomenal job throwing the football along with rushing it. I don't think there's not much to be said there. USC, Caleb Williams was a star. Penn State, Drew Allar was everything that we hoped he would be. First half, he really struggled. It really wasn't until the fourth quarter when they really put it on them. So that was a little concerning that you can only score 21 points in the first 3 quarters of the football game, but good job for them finishing strong. Washington was unbelievable. I mean, Michael Penix Jr. just had it going all day, along with the Dunze. Texas struggled with Rice, especially early. It was 16-3. It should have been a lot further than that. Third quarter, though, they really piled it on. The running game doesn't look very good after Bijan, but honestly, Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, and them just ended up exploding the game out there. Tennessee, fantastic game. Milton did okay. But really, it was Wright's turn. It was the running back just turned out yards like crazy. Sam Hartman and that rushing attack destroys Tennessee State. I don't think that was ever in doubt. 81 hanged by Oregon. Great job by Bruce Irving rushing that football. Kansas State with an easy win. Now, the game that everybody's been talking about. Do you believe Colorado absolutely beat TCU 45-42 in the shocking game of the week? I know some people are going to say Baylor losing to Texas State is probably the most shocking one of the week, and I could see where you could say that at. But to me, Shedeur Sanders, 510 yards, 4 touchdowns, 135 yards for Dylan Edwards. You had Xavier have another one. You had um, Jimmy Horn, and then you had Travis Hunter as well, who was absolutely phenomenal. Happy to see Colorado get a good win here. You're going to see them in the next week 2. When I talk about this, they're going to beat Nebraska, and I don't think it's going to be close. So watch for what I say moving forward on that game. For Wisconsin, Tanner Mordecai looked god awful, but the rushing attack with Braylon and Malusi was unbelievable and unbeatable, and definitely deserved to get the W there. Dylan Gabriel was really good, but I'll tell you who's even better: Jackson Arnold, who went 11 for 11. That dude right there is a bad mother effer. So if I'm Dylan Gabriel, I want to keep this up because that dude behind me is going to play if I do not continue to play well. Now, the game that everybody was talking about, North Carolina, South Carolina, the Battle of the Carolinas. So now the official Carolina for this year is the Tar Heels. They did win 31-17. I did predict they would win with Drake May. Spencer Rattler was phenomenal the entire game. I really liked the way his poise was, even though he took 9 sacks. Guys, North Carolina has not sacked a quarterback 9 times, I believe, since like the 50s or 60s. So this is really crazy to even have stated that was even the case. I think they had, 13 tackles for a loss. North Carolina's defense was absolutely improved and played phenomenal. South Carolina's offensive line is really bad. But Spencer Rattler is really freaking good, guys. And I think had he had Juice Wells and his other wide receiver, I think they could have made the game really competitive, especially because North Carolina was missing a couple of its weapons, especially Tez Walker. Drake May's 2 interceptions I really wasn't a fan of, and I think he needs to clean that up moving forward. Jackson Dart was amazing for Ole Miss. That's the reason why they won. Quinshawn Judkins just couldn't get going the way he should, but I don't have any concerns regarding that. Texas A&M versus New Mexico State, it wasn't even close. You knew who was going to win that game, and they looked really good defensively. Tulane, Pratt, too good. Iowa with Cade McNamara, good enough. Kentucky, Devin Leary looked really good along with Davis, the running back. Interception was a little questionable why he threw it, but the rest looked really good for them, and I'm glad to see how good they are. And I think they're going to be very interesting, and they're going to give Florida hell when they see them. Let's move on. Purdue losing to Fresno State. I don't know what big of an upset as people really think it is. Fresno State's been pretty good for a little while, and Mikey Keene for Fresno State balled out 366 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. I thought he was absolutely everything that he needed to be. And the Boilermakers just weren't ready, unfortunately. But I think Fresno State will show why they beat Purdue moving forward. SMU, easy win there. Northern Illinois versus Boston College. Boston College isn't very good, so for me it was like that happening could have been something that could have happened. Like I could have envisioned that. So I'm not really there's nothing really to go off there. KJ Jefferson was great against Western Carolina, but again it was Western Carolina. Auburn beating UMass, which probably has one of the worst rosters in college football. I mean, in Division I college football. Makes sense that Auburn would win. Peyton Thorne really wasn't that good. It was really the defense that really did it all for them. The offense of Auburn just didn't look very good. And we could see why they were going after a lot of quarterbacks in the portal. Maryland, Talia Tagovailoa was going to be destroy one of those. Austin Reed was phenomenal. Pittsburgh with Phil Jurkovich. He's glad that he got out of Boston College after seeing them get trampled, but good win against Wilford. Emory Jones, Cincinnati quarterback, balled out against a terrible Eastern Kentucky team. Tom Herman, Florida Atlantic played pretty well, 42-20. Casey Thompson looked really good, and along with the running back McCammon, getting Florida State going. I think Tom Herman's only going to be there for this season and then next season, and I think he is going to bolt for a better job for sure. This was just a 1 or 2 year stopgap to get back into coaching before he moves on to a bigger program for sure. Vandy looking a lot better this week than they did last week against the Rainbow Warriors. Good job rushing the football. Swan, still not looking great, but good enough. Cameron Ward, great job beating up against Colorado State. The really surprising thing was Texas State and TJ Finley throwing a party all over Baylor. That was just really sad to see Baylor's defense get shredded like that. If Dave Miranda does not start winning games, this will be the end of Dave Miranda at Baylor. I think this would be if he loses. If he doesn't get past 6 or 7 wins, I think that will be 2 or 3 years straight of him not reaching expectations. And Baylor is going to have to look to move on, unfortunately. I don't hear them have juice in recruiting. I don't see them getting the players they used to get when Art Briles was there. And it's looking tough for Dave Miranda. If I'm Dave Miranda, I may be looking that, hey, my job is in jeopardy here. I may want to turn up the pressure here. Houston beating barely UTSA. That was predicted because UTSA was going to give them trouble. The Roadrunners are a very good team. And Donovan Smith looked really good, though, honestly, for Houston. I just thought they just needed some better running attack, but, hey, that's understandable. Oklahoma State had a lot of different quarterbacks trot out there. They were really bad offensively, but they got the win because, well, Central Arkansas is a lot worse. Another stunning one was Wyoming over Texas Tech, and honestly, I don't even know what to say. I mean, because the offense I thought, was doing good at times. I just don't know what happened in the second, third quarter where they couldn't get nothing going, and then the fourth quarter, all they could do was kick a field goal. I was really shocked by that result. I was really shocked that Texas Tech offense at times just was really sputtering, but then it was really good sometimes. And it was just really, really strange of a game. The defense really bad for Texas Tech, but I'm okay with because that coach there has I give him a lot of faith, and I think he's definitely gonna improve the defense going forward for sure. I think it was just something that was an unfortunate loss. UCLA barely beating Coastal Carolina. Grayson McCall, those 2 interceptions were killer. Coastal Carolina does not really look like the old Coastal Carolina. Obviously, their head coach left to Liberty. But, yeah, I just don't know what to say for Grayson McCall. I think he should have left. I think he definitely should have went to Auburn. And I think he definitely would have a lot better chance of going pro. Carson Steele was still really good for UCLA. And Dante Moore definitely looked like the real deal Holyfield when it came to, as a freshman starting. He definitely deserves it over Ethan Gabberts. I don't know why they started Ethan Gabberts. I think Chip Kelly knew Dante Moore was the right answer. Sunday was very scary. Northwestern looked like a team that doesn't belong in Division One, which is kind of not surprising. Well, it was surprising because Rutgers is really bad, but the fact they beat you 24-7 and you only scored because out of pity, not good looking for Northwestern. Oregon State, I don't know what to say there because DJU was really good, but San Jose State really didn't have a good game going in, and they were really limited with injuries, so fortunate for San Jose State. Florida State, LSU, this is the game I even dreaded to even talk about because I know LSU is my team when it comes to football, and, well, they got stomped out by Florida State in the second half. It was just an onslaught. Keon Coleman, unreal dude. Really showed up big time along with Johnny Wilson, and there ain't nothing we could have done about it. Defense just got tired, and the secondary was just shredded. LSU, they didn't use Harold Perkins the way they should have. We can't throw the ball deep. Jaden Daniels just can't do it. That's why I really want Garen Nussmeier to start. I wanted him to start last year. I wanted him to start this year, but it seems like Brian Kelly wants to keep rushing out Jaden Daniels. I get why. We can't rush the football for absolutely nothing. We have no special running backs, no good running backs that deserve to be on an LSU roster. So, should have attacked the portal in the rushing game, I think, a little bit harder, but, I mean, the result's the result. I can't really say much there. Duke upsetting Clemson was super sad for Clemson. It made me realize that it's over for Clemson's run atop of the ACC, and it also made me realize for the first time Dabo's mortality in college football. His hourglass is running out. I mean, his inability to adapt to the NIL world, to use the transfer portal, I don't see that changing, and I don't see him sticking around for it. I think he's going to retire. Sad, but true, and probably really necessary for Clemson. They need a new head coach, a new voice in that locker room to be the head coach, and I feel really bad, but honestly, I think it could be best for Clemson going forward if they want to be back to national prominence. Dabo is probably gonna have to step down. But for Duke, Riley Leonard, an NFL player for sure. I don't know really what to make of him throwing the football because his weapons just really aren't that good. So I can't tell if how good of a throwing quarterback he is. But as a rusher, I mean, clearly he's phenomenal. So I really just want to see going forward how good Duke is because Duke has a murderous row of a schedule with Notre Dame, Miami, and Florida State still on the schedule left to go. Good luck, Duke, going forward. But that was it for week one. So for some week two matchups, obviously we will have the big one being Kansas and Illinois on a Friday night. That is going to be the big game that everybody is going to want to flock towards because it is a really nice Big 12 versus Big 10 matchup for two schools. It's going to be very interesting. Jaden Daniels should be back for that game. It's going to be the home opener for Kansas. And Illinois did not play well against Toledo, so we will see how that game goes. NC State, Notre Dame, another good one. Brandon Armstrong versus Sam Hartman. I really wouldn't put too much stock in NC State winning that game. I'm just going to be honest. I think Notre Dame is going to trounce them by at least 14 points. Utah, Baylor, I got the Utes winning this one, especially with their quarterback coming back, Cam Rising. Hopefully, I see them winning this game pretty nice and going away. Colorado, Nebraska, I definitely have Colorado winning this game by at least 14 points. Nebraska's offense is god awful. Jeff Sims is just not very good. I think Colorado will absolutely trounce them throwing the football wise. Ole Miss and Tulane is going to be a phenomenal game. So we're going to get finally Pratt versus Jackson Dart. I'm extremely interested to see that. I'm hopefully Judkins could get going and really make this a game. But crazy enough, I have Tulane winning the game. I have Tulane winning the game by a touchdown, but I think it's going to be super close, a really good game. Texas A&M, Miami, one of the best games of the week as well. I have another crazy enough. Not crazy enough, I should say, but I have Texas A&M beating Miami. I think Connor Wigman and Bobby Petrino are going to get it done and not upset, but beat Miami by 10. Iowa State, both teams decimated with the gambling trials that have been going on for both schools, but I got Iowa 24-21. Next big one here. Appalachian State and North Carolina. I have Drake May winning this one. 30. I say 30. Yeah, 31-17 against Appalachian State. About the same score they beat South Carolina by. SMU Oklahoma. I have Oklahoma winning that game by 3 touchdowns. Texas and Alabama. Tough game. I have Alabama winning it by 3 against Texas. I think they win on a late field goal. I think Quinn Ewers looks good, but not great. And I think the running game struggles, and that's what gives Alabama the win, is that Jalen Milroe's rushing attack is just ends up being too much for the Texas defense to handle. I think Oregon slaps Texas Tech on this one. I think UConn beats Georgia State by a score. UCF beats Boise State by 3. I think it's going to be extremely close there. Florida beats McNeese State, I think, by 14. Washington State and Wisconsin is a game to watch. I think that is going to be incredibly interesting to see. And I think it is going to be a good game to watch for Cameron Ward and then Tanner Mordecai. But I do have Washington State pulling the upset over Wisconsin, and I do think they win by anywhere from 3 to 4 points. Arizona, Mississippi State, another interesting game. Could go either way. I have Mississippi State winning by 9. UCLA, San Diego State, another tough game. But I got Dante Moore and those UCLA Bruins getting the W there. Stanford, USC, I don't think will be close. USC by 30. Auburn and Cal could be interesting, especially the way that Cal looked with Finley. I'm going to go with Auburn by 3. Oklahoma State, Arizona State, I don't even know what to think of that game. I'm going to go with Oklahoma State by 3. Defense will be too much and suffocates Arizona State. But that's it. Those are my week 2 predictions. So we'll be back next week to see on that one. We'll be back on Sunday. All right. So make sure to like, subscribe, and notification bell. See you guys in the next one.